Assalamualaikum. I'm Dr. Lodi, Dr. Afzal Lodi from Karachi. I've been practicing dermatology in Karachi since the last, I believe, 25 years or maybe a bit more. So, trying to do dermatology and trying to work. And that was my brief introduction. So, aging is a natural thing. One has to age, no escape. Aging is all the organs they age, whether it's heart, whether it's lung, it's bone, it's joint, muscles, all these organs have to age. But skin is the only visible organ. And skin aging has a bit of telling effect. One doesn't like to age. Children actually, they look forward to age, they look forward to grow, they look forward to get tall and big. And when one attains a bit of age like 30, 40, one wants to stop aging process because skin is the only visible organ. And in skin, aging shows. Aging doesn't show inside in the other organs like heart, lung, muscles, bones, joints, but skin aging shows. So skin is the only visible organ and the largest organ of our body. So in skin we see few changes, like we see lack of collagen. So if we see skin under a microscope, we see in the young skin we see very nice spaghetti, full bundles of collagen. And if we see skin under a microscope in an aged person, we see chopped spaghetti, like it has been cut into pieces. And collagen less, the pro-collagen is less. Fibroblasts which produce collagen, they are less. The extracellular matrix which has collagen and elastin in it shows lack of activity because of lack of growth factors in the skin. So in the skin, the basal layer, we see lot of activity in young skin. In the basal layer, lot of cell multiplication is going on. And if we see the same basal layer in an aged skin, the aging we see in aging skin, we see lack of activity in the basal layer. We see down regulation of these growth factors, and because of this down regulation of growth factors, we see less of this pro-collagen, collagen and elastin. And these are the basic of the basis of the skin. This collagen gives tensile strength to the skin, elastin gives elasticity to the skin, and hyaluronic acid again is a very important extracellular matrix substance. And hyaluronic acid forms a scaffolding of the skin. So when these things go down, we see the texture is gone, elasticity is gone, the thickness of the skin is gone, and skin ages. So there are some other factors as well, but aging has no escape, aging has to come. And since this is the only visible organ, we have to fight aging to keep it in a decent or in a proper, to let it age in a proper way. No, face is a different ball game. Face is a visible area, and in visible area, the causes of aging are extrinsic and intrinsic. Intrinsic are the same, like the inside everything is going down, all the organs are showing aging. Aging skin also shows aging, but facial skin is added with extrinsic factors as well, is burdened with extrinsic factors as well, like pollution, smoke, weather, dryness, stress, and the most important factor is sunlight. So this UV radiation has a telling effect on facial skin. So facial skin wrinkles more than the rest of the hidden part of the body, because facial skin is exposed to sun, exposed to harsh weather. Dryness in the weather causes further dehydration and further wrinkling. Smoking makes it worse, alcohol makes it worse, stress makes it worse. So all these things are extrinsic causes. So facial skin has intrinsic causes and extrinsic causes. So all these things should be taken care of, and to avoid to arrest a bit of aging. I told you there is no escape. One has to age, सबको age होना है, but these few things should be taken care of. One should avoid sunlight as much as possible. Now more and more UV radiation is coming onto the earth. So previously there was an ozone layer. Ozone layer used to prevent UV radiation coming onto the earth. Now ozone layer is getting depleted, and because of depletion more and more UV radiation is coming onto the skin, and this UV radiation damages the skin the most. So always wear a sunblock, keep your skin well hydrated, moisturized. Dryness causes further wrinkling of the face. Smoking makes it worse. Stress makes it worse. Please try to keep your nerves a bit more relaxed. Drink plenty of fluids. Smoking should be avoided, and some environmental factors, harsh weathers, they should be taken care of, and strong chemicals, they also damage skin. And the most damaging factor in my part of the world is these formula creams, which contains steroids, mercury and other strong chemicals. They also make the skin worse. They also deteriorate the skin. So these things should be taken care of as far as facial aging is concerned. How to avoid aging? What are the procedures? What are the things? So first thing I told you, precaution. These things should be taken care of. These 4, 5, 6 things which I just mentioned to keep the skin in a proper shape. Now we have different options. Initially in late 90s there wasn't anything major. Late 90s and early 20s we saw loads of aesthetic procedures coming up, starting with fillers, and then came the Botox, and then lasers, and then on and on, so many things, PRF, and then derma roller, and then PRP, and then it's going on and on and on, and with the passage of time all these things are gaining popularity. They are catching up, the scenario is changing, and about 25 years back there was only one procedure, micro or major derm abrasion, that's it. Then in the late 90s, actually the first FDA approved filler was approved in 2003 December. So but in Europe all these things they started rolling in the late 90s. So and the scenario changed. So we have loads of option as far as anti-aging, and all these things have different jobs to do. Like fillers is basically for filling the gaps like laughter line with the nasojugal fold and nasolabial fold and marionette lines. We use fillers. Fillers is basically to fill up the gaps which is because of volume loss. So with the aging we also lose volume of the face, and convexities of face, they become concavities of the face, and there we use fillers, and we have quite a few fillers in the market. Then we have Botox. Botox is basically for this forehead wrinkles and crow's feet, and now we use Botox for other indications as well as for jawline, for Nefertiti, neck lift, for meso-Botox we use, for lip eversion we use Botox. So as I told you, indications are increasing day by day. Then we have these lasers, we have skin tightening lasers, we have radio frequencies, RF, we have needling, we have high frequency, we have HIFU, so many things. And then we have PRP. PRP is basically a natural thing. In PRP, your own growth factors, your own platelets, your own things, there's nothing new which is going inside your skin. So in PRP, your own cells are going in. So, and we have other options like threads and this and that, so many options. So actually we have loads of options, and we are spoiled for choice what to do. So it's basically patient selection. So a good selection is very important, that and patient's expectation, what one is looking for, what can PRP do, what can fillers do, what are the patient's requirements. So we have loads of options, and depends, we have to tailor the treatment according to the patient, according to the wishes of the patient, and according to the advice of the treating physician, that what should be done. PRP is a good option since it has no external things in it. PRP is a system in which we take out blood, we take blood from the patient, and we place the blood in a centrifuge, in a machine which takes the cells out, the RBCs and WBCs, and separates plasma which contains platelets. Now platelets, they contain growth factors, the vascular endothelial growth factor and other growth factors, and these growth factors, they stimulate fibroblasts to produce procollagen, and procollagen produces collagen. So in the process we see production of collagen, fibrin and elastin, and these things, they have a very good effect as far as the facial texture is concerned, as far as the tensile strength of the skin is concerned, and as far as elasticity of concerned. So gradually in a few treatments we see good changes, and the good thing for PRP is that it's endogenous, it's a thing which is taken from your own system, from your own blood, and that the same platelet, the same growth factor we inject inside, and should be done properly. The kit should be good, the procedure should be proper. So PRP has been used, has been in use since long. We used to use it for ligament injury, for bone injury, for muscle injury, and a very famous athlete, I would like to take his name, Tiger Woods. He used to get this PRP done for his sports injury. He is still a very famous golfer, a showman. He has taken a lot of PRP sessions. So PRP is not a new thing, but yes, now we use it on the face for rejuvenation, as an anti-aging, as giving some tensile strength, some glow to the skin, some strength to the skin, and some collagen to the skin. Collagen and elastin are the main feature of the extracellular matrix, and these are the two things which give the main support to the skin. So with PRP we give a very good strength to the skin. The best combination is PRP and derma roller. So if we do a PRP and we put some PRP serum on the face, and when we use a derma roller, we get a very nice result. They have a synergistic effect and they go hand in hand. But yes, surely we can use other procedures as well. With PRP you can definitely use fillers as well, because both have different indications. Like fillers, for example, is for laughter line improvement, then PRP is for the generalized facial improvement, for the generalized tensile strength of the skin, for the generalized anti-aging effect on the skin. So all these things can be used very, very easily. There is no bar that you have got this PRP done and now you cannot take the fillers. No, you can almost do all the procedures, but microneedling we generally advise to our patients that if you have taken this PRP, then along with the PRP it's better if you take microneedling as well. Actually it's better if you get these things done as well, because sometimes patient expectation is very high and patients, they look for some other benefits as well. So we always give them a option to get these things done as well. And with PRP we can also do fractional lasers and stuff, and CO2 fractional or Fraxel laser or many other lasers, they also have a sort of a synergistic effect. Both these things, they enhance the skin. So with the ablative lasers, we remove the top layers of the skin. They also stimulate the cellular growth, and the needle of the when needle of the this needling derma roller goes in, this also stimulates this collagen. Now the question arises that how frequently we have to and how long for we can take PRP. So generally we have seen that when we put this growth factors in the platelets, and they stay there for a month's time, and they keep releasing the growth factor for a month's time, and the benefits are there for a month's time. So generally we can take a session after a month's time, but there is no harm if it's a bit longer. Even 6 weeks is fine, but generally yes, 4 weeks is a good option. And at least I say to my patients that 3 sessions are a must. For a good result, I opt for 4 to 6 sessions for a good result. So 3 sessions is the minimum, yeah, and 1 month apart. And it's not a very harsh procedure, it's not a very painful procedure. You can get PRP done, and I think immediately after you can resume your work. You can get this procedure done in your lunch break, in your lunch hour, and then you can go back to your work. It has a nil downtime that you have to take rest for a week's time. So you have taken PRP. No such thing. It's a sort of lunchtime procedure. You get this thing done and go back to your work. So once a month is not a bad option, and at least 3 procedures, maybe a bit more for a better result. Many PRP kits available in the market, all are good. They all good result, but I feel in my experience, Prisma stands out, no doubt. It's a closed system. It separates as RBCs and WBCs very effectively, and the main thing is its pH. I've experienced it since it has a normal pH 7.4, though I don't see any irritation, burning, tingling during and after procedure. So in my personal experience, I think, yeah, Prisma stands out. They all are good, but Prisma stands out, and I see very good results with Prisma PRP. Reasons being, which I just mentioned, it's a closed system, and I've never seen any infection with Prisma. It's a very good system. It's a closed system. It's fibrin, which we inject, releases this growth factor for a long time. So I advise my patients for Prisma PRP. It's very safe, very effective, and my thumbs up to Prisma. Thank you very much. That was my personal experience, my personal treatment which I give, which I do. Thank you very much for bearing with me, for listening. Thank you.